There's a cascade of projects. I mean, I've never scrolled on the IMDb page. See, I'm getting old already. I've never scrolled on the IMDb page for 5 minutes and never got to the end. You know, it's like just looking at all the projects that somebody's done. So,
I'm a whore. There's no question about it.
What's that?
I'm a whore. There's no question about it.
No. You're not a whore. You're just a professional. I mean, the whole thing about being an actor is to work, and you have definitely worked. Hey everybody, Korey here for another double dosed interview. You know, it's the middle of the day, so I'm talking to somebody very special today, and somebody truly special today. I have pretty much a legendary actor on this show right now, and one of my favorite actors out there, and I can say that honestly. So big that I thought I would never be talking to this person. And it's my pleasure to be able to talk to Mr. Brad Dourif. Brad, how are you?
Good. Yourself?
I'm doing great now that you're here. I am truly honored to be speaking to you. You have been an entertainment and an acting and movie fixture through my whole life. And I feel like I've been just taking you for granted, man. I'm sorry?
Was that a question or?
No, that was a compliment is what that was.
Oh, well, thank you.
But I just want to let everybody know, first of all, you know Brad Dourif. A lot of younger people probably know Brad Dourif by his voice, and now you know the man. He, of course, is the voice and the personality behind the killer doll Chucky. The show is entering its second season. It's already started, actually, on Sci-Fi, and you can find that now, and is actually getting all kind of great reviews and compliments out there right now.
We don't know how many Chuckies are out there.
Great. Another killer doll with a shady plan.
How many of you are there?
Wait, you got a knife? Yeah, I got a knife. They passed them out at orientation.
You know, Brad, I want to just give you a big congratulations on the success of the show. The show has pretty much received something that nothing else in the franchise has gotten, and a lot of movies have not received, and that is a perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes, 100%. And obviously the franchise continues to grow. You continue to be involved. What is it that has kept you playing Chucky for so long?
Well, it has been a long time. What can I tell you? The thing about it is, I think that Don Mancini has done an incredible job of making the franchise new all the time. I mean, the first one that he really took over on was Bride, and I just thought that movie was brilliant. I thought that the way he handled Bride of Frankenstein and integrated that and paid homage to it, throughout that whole script was really, super well done. And he's, really, since then stayed on top of it. And done new things.
No, I think that's the biggest thing with the show. I have been a fan of the show, and I admit that I have not seen season 2 yet. I did see season 1. I loved it, and I'm looking forward to watching this one here. I'm a big fan of Chucky. But, we're going to get back to talking about Chucky. I just want to, first of all, because everybody knows you as Chucky, the younger generation. But I'm old enough to where your movies have been a part of pretty much my whole life. And because you have, way before, Chucky has started, you've been playing characters that have been pretty much praised for your performance for a while. When you did One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, that was considered one of the best acting debuts of all time at that time, and probably still today. And and I want to show people just a little bit of your performance in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, where you played Billy.
Yes.
And I want to show this right here just to show people just how incredible your performances have been just throughout your career over time.
I went over to her house on Sunday afternoon, and I brought her some flowers. I said, Celia, will you marry me?
You know, now that you've become so popular with, the younger generation with Chucky, are you discovering that younger people are finding out about your older films?
Well, obviously, I mean, I've done probably over 200 films, so it depends on the movie. Cuckoo's Nest is a classic. It's still relevant today. I've seen it; it still works. I guess Mississippi Burning. And of course everybody knows, a lot of people really know Lord of the Rings, which I did. So yes, and I did a series which I still get recognized when I played Doc Cochran in Deadwood. So, people do know.
Yeah. No, you've, with all these characters that you played, like example with Deadwood, that is such you've had such these intense performances, throughout your career here. And then you go off and you play someone like Chucky, which is pretty much, and I mean this as a compliment, which almost kind of borders on kind of camp horror in a way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, you've gone from like this really intense, these intense characters to Chucky. Is Chucky almost kind of a fun release for you to do?
Well, I'm sort of, at this point, I'm kind of retired. I just say no to most of the stuff that I get offered, but, I can't say no to Chucky. Number one, he might kill me. Number one, and number two, my daughter is a part of it, and so is my stepdaughter. So, it's a family thing. So it's just, and I've known Don Mancini for so long. He actually audited. I taught at Columbia University, and he audited one of my class.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So how long did you teach at Columbia?
5 years.
And when was this that you did that?
This was in the very early 80s.
Okay. So at the time, how was that? You obviously had your career going in Hollywood, but you were also teaching. What made you want to teach?
I don't know. I sort of accidentally got involved in it, and then I was talking to Milos about it, and he was and he asked if I would teach there, and I said sure, and so I did.
It's interesting that you say that you accidentally got into acting. You hear
not
this,
acting. Not acting,
teaching.
Teaching.
Oh, teaching.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did that happen accidentally? How'd you?
I was watching a class that somebody did, and they just did everything all wrong, and they were supposedly talking about my teacher, and I went no, and so I started teaching that class. I don't know what, but I just couldn't handle it, not doing it.
Yeah. Talking to you, you seem so down to earth, and that kind of reflects in, and I think in some of the jobs and roles that you've taken. Like you were just talking about right now. We've seen you play in some very highly regarded films such as Mississippi Burning, and then you'll go off and do something like Critters 4 that you see here with Angela Bassett in it. But you say you're retired right now, but over time, I'm sure you've been offered so many projects, and having so many projects offered to you, how do you decide on what to do? How do you choose your roles?
Well, I mean, when Fiona was born, she was born in the house, and I went upstairs, kept checking on her to see if she was still alive, because it was, it's such a thing. And I kind of went, oh, I get it. I'm a whore now. I got to do, I got to keep this kid in clothes and everything. And so, I mean, I pretty much did whatever I could do. And I just did a lot of movies and a lot of television. I did everything I could get my hands on, to keep supporting her, and the family as a whole. We all go through that. If you have kids and you have a family, basically your job is to support them.
So you were just doing what you had to do at the time.
Exactly, just like everybody else.
Well, let me ask you this then. So you were doing what you had to do. It was out of necessity. At what point did you realize, or were you able to say, you know what, I can actually do whatever the hell I want to do right now?
Well, that was when at some point I was renting a house in Los Angeles, and I had to move out, and I've owned this house where I am now for a long time, and the industry's changed so that it doesn't matter where you live anymore, because all they want to do is see tape, and you can do tape anywhere. So I moved to my house here in Woodstock, excuse me, and it suddenly became very cheap to live, and I could afford to live here without really making any money at all. So so I kind of retired.
Nice. No, very nice. Again, congratulations on that. You say that so you're talking about retirement right now, and you say,
I know I'm doing a series, so some retirement.
Yeah, you're not retired, man. You're still out there for Chucky. Yeah, and a TV series is much more involved than a movie.
Yeah. Well, I just do the voice, so I can do that in my house, and I do a great deal of it in the house.
Oh, so for the series, do you record at home then?
Yeah.
Oh, that is nice. No wonder you were able to come back and do this. It doesn't require you to go anywhere. That's a very sweet gig right there, man.
Yeah. The only thing I do is when it comes to do ADR, then I go to a studio, because that's much more involved electronically, and I just I mean, we may try one more thing and be able to do it out of the house, but I can almost do that out of the house as well.
So how is it when you have to record remotely at your home, which is very convenient and nice, but how is it when you have to interact with someone else? Because I've heard about actors who say, I require people to be in the studio with me, but you do it remotely with no one else around, I think, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I have, my stepdaughter usually helps me.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And she's live in the room. It's much better if I can find somebody, who I'm comfortable working with, who can be in the room with me.
Very nice. So being that you've worked in both as a, doing voiceover and as an actor, do you see more actors today? Because I imagine there was a stigma at the time where voice actors were just, they were lower than the actors that you actually see on the screen. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of people now who are talking about just how nice it is to do voiceover or, do recording, even doing audio for books or anything like that. They say it's very nice. Has that attitude changed over time?
I think, obviously being able to do your, voice work in your own house is really, I think it's opened the industry up, and it's made the job way more appealing than it was. And just easy, just because of the ease of it. It doesn't really pay as well. I've done a lot of game voiceovers for computer games. And while it's great fun to do, it doesn't really pay that well.
Yeah.
And certainly not as well as doing a performance in a movie.
Yeah. So if you have the luxury of doing it just because you're having fun with it, but for people who are making a career, it might not be as good as it is when you're acting in movies and television.
No, not
Gotcha.
financially. Not. That may change. I mean, I'm sure Chucky gets. Chucky's a huge star. And if you're voicing a huge star, then you become a little bit more expensive, which is good.
Okay, so because just by nature of Chucky, the character being so huge, pays a little more than the average voice acting gig out there.
Yeah, it's a bit more lucrative.
And plus, I think because your name is so synonymous with this character right now, I think that's another reason why people would want you with this character. Why they wouldn't pay, they would hesitate to pay someone else because, I mean, your name is so attached to this character now. I mean, you are the star behind the character.
Yeah, and you know what? You really can't. I mean, people can tell. Mm-hmm. So if you use somebody else to do the voice of Chucky, it's not going to feel like Chucky anymore. Because people are very used to, I don't know, whatever it is that I do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't really work to do that.
Yeah. I mean, so much of you is involved with the character. I mean, I'm sure one day if you can't do it and you absolutely have to recast, they will. But you are that character at this point now. That's why I say people know you, man. I would be mad if they change it. I'm usually I don't want to be that petty, but I would protest. But again, we're talking, and as I said, you seem like such a down to earth person. You'll play something serious and then you go off and do this slasher movie or series with this doll here. You don't seem to have a big lofty attitude or self-important attitude about acting. Like you don't mind doing things like going to the WWE and having Chucky threaten a wrestler, which is hilarious. It's very funny. How do you stay as down to earth in this business? How grounded in this business? Because a lot of people we know, they can go crazy. They lose themselves. But you seem to be pretty stable. How do you do that?
Well, I have my daughter and my girlfriend to set me straight. I mean, if my head gets a little big, they're going to tell me. Nice.
So get yourself a good woman, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Our kids. I was watching, speaking of Lord of the Rings, I was watching this video, and this is a while back I saw this. I was watching this video where director Peter Jackson, he was talking about, you were playing the character of Wormtongue, and he was talking about how you walked around the whole set with a British accent, and you did it so much that he thought you were actually British. Until one day you just snapped out of it and everybody thought it was so crazy that everybody thought that you were faking an American accent when you were done. They even said your accent was bad. Would you call your American accent, that is, which is your accent? Would you call yourself a method actor?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's a very loose term, but yeah. I mean, if I'm doing an accent, the idea is that that I want it to be natural. I don't want it to feel to me like it's somebody, like I'm doing some accent, and that always when I'm doing it, I'm performing. Mm-hmm. And it takes time to get to that place.
So this might be silly, but when you're doing the accent and you stay in character, okay, that's when you're doing a live action movie. But have you ever lost yourself in Chucky, where you're just going around talking like Chucky all the time?
Never. Chucky is Chucky is he's just a guy who loves his job, really. I mean, and of course he's somebody who, is very willing to like turn a living, breathing human being into a piece of meat. That part is very real. And also he is somebody who is terrified of oblivion. I mean, he just does not want to die. So those things have to be there because he is a monster. And, you can't have horror without a monster.
Yeah, no doubt. You talk so fondly of his character where you say that you have to come out of retirement for Chucky. I mean, that's just a given. Is there anything else that you would come out of retirement for?
No.
Absolutely. So Chucky's the privileged one to have that honor.
Yeah. I mean, it's just because, like, it's family.
Gotcha.
It's really. I mean, I've known Don Mancini, as I said, for years. I mean, how could I say no?
Well, you talk about family with this, and you have your daughter Fiona, who is in the series, and she's playing a younger version of your character.
Yes, she is. She does me.
Yeah, and there she is right there, man. And what's it like watching your daughter pretty much play a younger version of yourself to the point where she has to look like you?
Well, that was the first time I saw her. I saw the image of, and I said, I don't remember doing that, and, it was her. So I went, wow, that's pretty good. I mean, she was really worried about it. She was like, came and visited and was like following me around. And I finally said, Fiona, you really need to look at the movies and not me. I walked like my character when I was in character, but I don't walk like that in real life.
Yeah.
So you're getting the wrong thing. I said, so the basic thing you have to remember is that men always lead with their chest. Women lead with their hips. So practice pretending like there's a string on your chest and you're being pulled by it when you walk around, and you'll be able to feel more like you're walking like a guy instead of a girl. And then just watch the movies.
Yeah, and it was weird, man, because of course,
and she nailed it. I mean, she just got it exactly.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. I remember watching the first movie, and there's brief glimpses of you at in the first film, and watching her right now, it's like, man, you're right, she nailed it. And people are already saying like, hey, look, no, don't take this the wrong way, but you kind of already resemble your dad a little bit, so it was kind of perfect. You're beautiful, but we can see the strong genes of dad up in there. They talk about these days. It's a word that's thrown around very heavily right now. And keep in mind when I bring this up, this is not my accusation at all, but you hear the word nepotism thrown around all the time. So have you received any criticisms about nepotism? Having your daughter in this show, or in her, movies at all that she's been in?
Well, I think that this is something that you could talk to Fiona more about than me, because she definitely, I think, had the impression that she got called into a lot of things that she wouldn't have been called in, and got some attention because she has my last name.
Yeah.
And people knew she was my daughter. And, there is such a thing as genes. My mother was an actress. And I became an actor because I was watching her in rehearsal. And, and I was just so impressed with what she did. I kind of wanted to do that too, to learn how to do that too. So, I mean, I think Fiona's really talented. you know, and I think more than nepotism, she just got some of my mom's genes.
Yeah, well, listen, one thing you can't argue, no, regardless of how she got in there, she is talented. You know, I mean, she's very good at what she does. So
Yeah.
I read an article where, and this I guess this would seem kind of ironic, being that you are playing one of the most iconic horror characters of all time. But I read an article where it said that you could not watch horror movies. I think it started with you talking about how you couldn't watch The Exorcist 3. And then your daughter would bring...
No way.
Yeah, okay, The Exorcist 3 is one, but then your daughter she'd be watching these bloody horror movies, and you're like, you know what, I can't even be in the same room with you when you're doing this. This is crazy. So have you, after playing Chucky for so long, have you changed your attitude on horror movies? Can you watch them now, or do you want to watch them now? Or you still don't watch them?
No, I don't. I really don't. Watching horror is not fun for me.
Now how does that play in with your mentality when you're doing this character?
There's a big difference between being something and watching something, because when you're being something, it hasn't happened yet, or it happens while you're doing it. You don't go in, you know, and you know, if you're playing a killer, you know, you don't care. You know, if you're playing a sociopath, it doesn't mean that much to you.
Why when you say it doesn't mean that much to you, in what aspect? Why not? Because you have because sociopaths don't have empathy. Gotcha.
You know, to them it's an intellectual problem.
Yeah.
You know, they get that it's dangerous, you know, if they're caught, you know, it's dangerous, but they don't feel or care.
And, you know, I imagine that when you're playing a character, especially like Chucky, you know, Chucky is a character that you're voicing. So you don't even have to act out physically any of those violent acts. You just have to voice it. And then whatever they do with the character, they do.
Now, you do. I mean, when you kill somebody on screen, you have to intend to do it.
Okay.
You have to have that intention. If you don't, it's not that. It doesn't mean it's flat. It's nothing. So, I mean, you know, and you have to find that place inside you where you really feel like killing somebody. We all have it. So, you know, we're all monsters in a way. We're all capable of monstrous stuff.
Yeah.
You know, if you're honest, and all you have to do is pay attention to your fantasies.
So then,
you know, deep inside, you're driving down the street and somebody does something you don't like. You know, just listen to what you had to say inside your head about the person.
Yeah, you're right about that. And I'm not used. You're making me scared for myself, because there have been plenty of times I thought, you know what, right place, right time, I could kill that person. So, you know, you're correct about that. So
yeah, absolutely.
So in a way, so this is interesting, because you're talking about how you voice this character, but I mean, I guess even when you're voicing the character, you still have to have that intent behind it. You still have to become that character.
Exactly.
That's very cool to hear. You know, that even voice acting takes that level of commitment when you're doing something like this.
Oh, sure. I mean, you can hear it. We're very. We're animals who are very in tune with each other. You know, we pick up on the way things sound, and John Huston, when he directed, there was no, back when I worked with him, there was no TV monitors, but he wouldn't look at you. A lot of times when you were working, he just listened.
Do you need to listen to the phone right now? Do you need to take that call?
Yeah, I know. I don't know what to do about that.
Go ahead. If you need to take it, hey, we can edit that out.
No, I'm not going to take it.
Okay.
I'm not going to take it. I'll just let it ring out.
Okay. I don't want you to miss an important call. It might be Chucky calling. He's not going to take that well. So I just have a couple more things to ask you. You say that, certain things that you will go out of your way for, Chucky being one of them. You love this series. What would you say is the next best thing, equal or right under or right above Chucky, that you find your favorite thing that you have done? And we'll come out retirement for you. I know you say you won't, but is there something else that you absolutely would if they called you?
I can't think of any. I mean, certainly there have been performances that I've done that I've really had fun doing. I did a sort of a family film called Humboldt County. And I remember I just had a wonderful time doing that movie.
Nice. Very nice.
I mean, I really, bonded with everybody.
Yeah. No, and so that's a film right there that you're talking about. You're very fond of. Mancini, the producer for Chucky, and the guys behind many of the films.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other director that you've loved working with that you would just give a shout out to right now if you had to?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, Milos, who's unfortunately dead, Milos Forman, and certainly, I don't know. I can't even remember the name. Oh God, I can't remember anybody's name all of a sudden. Don't get old. Don't do it.
Hey, I'm trying not to, but I think it's going to happen.
David Lynch.
Oh, David
Lynch.
Nice.
And there are plenty of others.
Well, I mean, I could listen.
Peter Parker. Yeah, tons of directors.
Listen, it's not getting old that's making you lose track of names. I mean, anybody can go to just your IMDb page and see all the stuff that you've done. You've done so much.
Well, it's not helping.
Yeah, no, you've done, man. There's a cascade of projects. I mean, I've never scrolled on the IMDb page. See, I'm getting old already. I've never scrolled on the IMDb page for 5 minutes and never got to the end. It's like looking at all the projects that somebody's done. So, it's.
I'm a whore. There's no question about it.
What's that?
I'm a whore. There's no question about it.
No. You're not a whore. You're just a professional. I mean, the whole thing about being an actor is to work, and you have definitely worked. People would kill for as many projects as you've worked on in your life. Man, this has been a pleasure talking to you. As I said, you're someone that I've always admired. You're one of my favorite actors out there. For some reason, I admire you so much that I never thought that I would be talking to you like this. So this has been a real honor for me.
And it's been fun for me, too.
I have one more question and then we're out. But sure. Last question. Did you sing the Chucky song? Or is that somebody else that did that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Which one?
There's a song that they want to use for, I think, one of the Chucky movies or something. But they said it might be a little too silly and they didn't use it. They say you can use it now. But here, I'll play it for you real quick. Okay, I'm going to say no because you're looking at that like it's crazy right now.
Well, I can't hear it.
Oh, you can't hear it. Okay. All right. Yeah. It was something.
But I think I did. They made me sing all the songs.
Okay. All right. So chances are you did do that song then.
Yeah.
Okay. All
right.
If
you hear Chucky singing, I probably sang it.
Then we'll say yes then. Again, going to show you that this man can have fun with whatever he's doing right here. But no, you, again, when I said you're a legend, that wasn't me just, being hyperbolic when I introduced you. You really are. As I said, you're someone that has been around my whole life in movies. And I'm ashamed to say that when I was a kid, you were that guy that I said, and I'm 50 years old right now, so this is a long time ago. But you were always that guy that I looked at and I said, "Oh, it's that guy in all the movies because he's in everything." And then I finally, realized your name when I was a teenager, and I think ever since
Lance Hendricks was in every movie.
Well, yeah, no, he was. He's been in some of my favorite films.
He was like in everything.
Yeah, both you guys like to work, man. That's a good thing. Yeah, but hey, just because he worked a lot, you worked a lot too. You two weren't ever competing for movies, were you?
No. We're very different. I worked with Lance a couple of times, actually 2 or 3 times. and he's really fun to hang out with, and he's wonderful.
Yeah, and that again.
I mean, he's such a good actor, and he's a wonderful artist as well.
Really, what kind of art does he do?
Well, I mean, he was a painter. He was a painter before he was an actor.
Oh.
He literally, at one point, was illiterate and taught himself how to read, and educated himself. And you know, he's just a very unique and remarkable guy. No question about it.
Yeah, and if no one remembers, he was Bishop in Alien. He was the Aliens. He was the he was the synthetic human. You know, ever since then, he's been one of my favorite actors. Him being in that movie and him being in Stone Cold. Don't ask people. That's another crazy movie out there. Watch it. It's amazing. Speaking of amazing, this interview has been amazing for me. So, hey, thank you so much. I learned more than I ever thought I would in this amount of time that we had. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Fun. Bye-bye.
And I'll go ahead and cut off his, well, there, he cut it off for me. I don't have to get up now. And I don't know, Kelly, if you're still listening, thank you for accommodating this whole thing. I appreciate it. Thank you for whoever else was involved. And of course, thanks to Brad Dourif for being here. That was pretty amazing for me to hear him talk. And we went into areas that I did not prepare to talk about. You know, so that's always a great thing when you walk away from these interviews and you learn something about the people that you love. And I do love Brad Dourif a lot. I was not lying when I said he's one of my favorites out there. So I hope you enjoyed the interview as much as I did. I hope you learned something as much as I did. And one thing I never learned to bring up our YouTube page where you can find all these interviews. I'll learn one day. You know, the problem is I'm just so excited when I get into these interviews, I just don't think about it because it's not about me, it's about them. But I'll go ahead and bring that up for you right now. Let me see here. Double toasted interviews. If you like that interview, there are so many others with so many other actors and artists and internet personalities and influencers and just all kind of folks that we've, animators, directors, you know, so many people that we've talked to, and I hope to share that with you sometime. A lot of these people, as I said, are my heroes, such as Brad Dourif right here. But hey, if you get a chance, please go check out our Double Toasted YouTube page. As I said, all kind of personalities that we've talked to in the business of entertainment. Something, a little something there for everybody. That's what we try to do. So I want to thank all of you for, again, joining us for this interview here. And we hope to get many others. And I'm sure we will. I want to thank Kevin King, producer extraordinaire, for coming in and securing these interviews and for doing a lot of the research that I use to talk to these people. It's very helpful. Couldn't do it without him. So I got to give him a big shout out right there. And I want to give a big shout out to Pixie right here, who was always on these shows with me. Hey, you might not ever see her, but she's always present. She's almost like my producer too. Thank you for being here, baby. And I want to thank you once again for being here to show you how much I appreciate you. I don't want you to ever, I'm gonna put one more ever in there just to let you know I'm serious. Ever hesitate to call me. Well, actually don't call because probably somebody I don't know and I'm not going to answer. But you can email me, and you can do so by emailing me anytime. I'll answer back at some point. kcoolmans@gmail.com. That is KCOOLMANZ@gmail.com. Email us with any kind of questions, comments, compliments, insults, input, and or advice. Hit us up on our social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I got to put the TikTok on there. We got a TikTok is doing very well. Got to put our Patreon on there, all kind of stuff. But for right now, just type in Double Toasted. It'll take you where you need to go. I promise you, there's not too many Double Toasteds out there. I think we're the only one. If there's somebody else, they're phonies. They stole from us. Do not go to them. Stick with the real thing. Also, if you find yourself here in Austin, Texas, please let us know. But let us know ahead of time. Just don't call us like 24 minutes. Give us a good 24 hours or so before that by emailing us at kcoolmans@gmail.com. Let us know what those plans are for Austin. Are you moving here? Are you just passing through? Hey, whatever it is that you plan to do, let us know. We'll hang out with you. All right, everybody, that is it. We had a great time with you once again. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to all these wonderful people. Dream come true, and that's because of you. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you are listening to or watching this, goodbye and stay toasty. Ba-ba-da-ba.